12. Jordan Isaiah Thomas. In January 2024, the body of 19-year-old university student Amaria Smith was found stuffed into the trunk of an abandoned car. The car was towed out of a private parking lot in Washington, North Carolina. The vehicle belonged to 39-year-old Jordan Isaiah Thomas, who allegedly ditched the car and stole a nearby pickup truck in his efforts to evade law enforcement. At the time of her murder, Smith was studying at Elizabeth City State University with plans to become an elementary school teacher. Her body was found by the tow truck driver, who was hired to remove Thomas's car from the parking lot where it was found. Meanwhile, police traced the truck that Thomas stole to a nearby hospital and arrested him. Investigators believe Smith was killed at a different location than where she was found, and have reportedly found evidence linking Thomas to the crime at his home in Edenton, more than 50 miles from where he abandoned his car. Police have yet to reveal Smith's cause of death or details about the relationship between the suspect and victim, but they say that Thomas and Smith knew each other. Thomas may have not been so easy to catch if he hadn't done such a terrible job at covering his tracks, but thankfully he's behind bars for now. He's charged with murder, concealing the death of a person, and larceny of a motor vehicle. 11. Rocky Fisher and Jennifer Balfe. In May of 2014, law enforcement received a tip about someone who resembled a wanted bank robber, spending large amounts of money at a casino in Lewiston, Idaho. Responding officers arrested the suspects, 35-year-old Rocky Fisher and 19-year-old Jennifer Balfe, as they exited a motel room together shortly before noon. The cops were admittedly amused by Fisher's shirt, which said it's all fun and games until the cops show up. Both suspects were booked into custody on suspicion of robbery, burglary, and grand theft. At the time, the pair were suspected in multiple bank robberies, but had only been charged in connection with one recent incident. The outcome of the case is unclear. 10. Derek Rossi. 58-year-old Derek Rossi took efforts to conceal his identity before robbing a gambling shop in London in September 2013. Wearing a balaclava, he entered the business with a sawed-off shotgun hidden inside an umbrella, approached the cashier and demanded money. The employee panicked and ran into a back office, while Rossi continued yelling at her to hand over cash from the till and the safe. In the meantime, other employees ran outside and called the police. The cashier told the armed thief that she didn't have a key to access the money with, and Rossi finally gave up and left empty-handed. As Rossi fled into the street, he dropped his gun on the ground. He removed his balaclava in order to pick it up, giving dozens of witnesses a full view of his face. The unsophisticated criminal shot the gun toward the ground as he got onto a bicycle and fled. At the time, Rossi was on lifetime probation for shooting 2 cops during 2 previous shooting sprees that he committed in 1984 and 2001. Employees were left traumatized by the ordeal. One worker spoke in court about how she struggles with insomnia and starts to panic anytime someone approaches her. Another staff member said that she never goes out alone anymore and never feels safe, period. Rossi pleaded guilty to the crime and was sentenced to life with a minimum of 12 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole. 9. Cheyenne Rose Antoine. In early 2015, 18-year-old Brittany Gargol was found strangled to death outside Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. She had been dumped near a landfill with the murder weapon, a blue belt, lying next to her body on the ground. Investigators eventually narrowed their focus on Brittany's best friend, Cheyenne Rose Antoine, after finding a Facebook photo of the 2 women from 6 hours before the murder. In the picture, Antoine appears to be wearing the same exact belt that Brittany was killed in. It was only a matter of time before someone discovered this clue hiding in plain sight, but it would take the police 2 years from the time of Brittany's murder before they felt they had a strong enough case to charge Antoine with any crimes. When Brittany first went missing, Antoine had made concerned-sounding posts on the young woman's Facebook wall, acting worried for her safety and asking where she was. After Brittany's body was found, Antoine played up the role of a grieving best friend. In the meantime, she told the police an elaborately spun web of lies about how Brittany had supposedly gone off with a man she'd just met after the 2 women spent the night bar hopping. Antoine gave the police a bogus alibi, which failed to check out when they reviewed surveillance footage of where she claimed to be at the time of Brittany's murder. The suspected killer's uncle eventually admitted that he had lied to corroborate Antoine's alibi in an effort to protect his niece. Cell phone data only strengthened law enforcement's suspicions that Antoine was involved in Brittany's death by proving that she was, in fact, with the victim at a time when she claimed not to be. A break in the case finally came when a witness told police that Antoine had confessed to killing Brittany in an alcohol-fueled tirade one night. Antoine allegedly told the witness that she and the victim had gotten into an argument, but the specific details about the disagreement remain unclear to this day. In 2017, prosecutors charged Antoine with second-degree murder. Early the following year, she pleaded guilty to manslaughter, but claimed that she couldn't remember committing the crime. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Antoine was apologetic toward Brittany's family at her sentencing hearing, saying through her lawyers that she'll never forgive herself for her actions. But by claiming to have no recollection of what happened, she's also denying Brittany's loved ones the answers they long for and deserve regarding what led up to the deadly fight between the young women. While giving a victim impact statement, Brittany's mother questioned why, at the very least, Antoine didn't get medical help for her friend after realizing that things had gone too far. Unfortunately, it seems as though the family will never know, because Antoine is either unable or unwilling to tell them. 8. Robert Coppotelli. With modern technology, it's pretty hard to hide from the law these days. The FBI proved this much when they identified some of the January 6th Capitol riot suspects using facial recognition technology. But they didn't even need to go that far to identify 27-year-old Robert Coppotelli, a heavy equipment business owner from New Jersey who attended the insurrection with his face and head concealed by a mask and a hood. After going through all that effort to obscure his appearance, Coppotelli stupidly wore a coat with his last name on both the front and back. His phone number was also on the jacket. An anonymous tipster told the FBI about the connection between the jacket and its wearer in July of 2021, putting Coppotelli on the agency's radar. Investigators found him at a residence in Tom River that's listed as both his home and business address. Coppotelli allegedly entered the Capitol with a crowd of fellow Donald Trump supporters through a door that had been kicked in 11 minutes earlier. Based on surveillance footage, authorities are accusing him of spending 12 minutes inside the building before leaving through a broken window. In February 2024, Coppotelli was charged with 4 federal misdemeanors, including disorderly or disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building and parading, demonstrating or picketing in a Capitol building, and knowingly entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority. 7. Matthew Lashinsky. In June of 2023, 23-year-old Matthew Lashinsky dialed 911 at 3:30 in the morning to report a burglary at his place of business in Ronkonkoma. Suffolk County Police arrived at the location, which was operating under the name Quantitative Laboratories LLC, and quickly realized that this was no ordinary scientific lab. They investigated further and concluded that the business was manufacturing methamphetamine and other drugs, including dimethyltryptamine or DMT. The cops might have never found out about the true nature of what was going on inside the building if Lashinsky hadn't called them about a burglary. In a statement, Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney described the scene as a Breaking Bad-style drug lab. Detectives seized more than 100 pieces of equipment commonly associated with the meth manufacturing process, along with chemical agents that are typically used to produce the drug. They also found $40,000 in cash, over 3 ounces of meth, a large amount of pure ketamine, an ecstasy stash, and 2 large drums of the assault drug GHB. Lashinsky's attorney, David Basso, told Newsday that there was no evidence that his client ever sold drugs out of his laboratory. Basso claimed that Lashinsky was simply researching drug addiction and that he'd applied for the proper permits to do so but hadn't obtained the documents yet. Despite these claims, Lashinsky pleaded guilty to 13 charges in early 2024, including 9 drug-related felonies and a handful of similar misdemeanors, as well as a reckless endangerment charge. He was sentenced to 4 years in state prison, followed by 5 years of probation. 6. Rihanna Medina. A California homeowner caught a thief red-handed in 2016 when he noticed a young woman taking some packages off the porch of his Alhambra residence. He pulled out his cell phone and began recording as he confronted the suspect, saying, "You know I live here, right?" Later identified as 20-year-old Rihanna Medina, the thief claimed that her mum lived at the home and tried casting doubt on the real homeowner. But the defiant act only lasted until the homeowner threatened to call the police, at which point she dropped the boxes and ran with her middle finger in the air. The victim happens to be an appliance repairman, and the boxes contained parts worth an estimated $1,000. Not only were the parts worth a lot of money, Medina had no practical use for them. The video went viral on social media, prompting several of Medina's friends and family members to identify her as the woman in the video, and ultimately leading to her capture. Police tracked Medina down at a motel and arrested her on suspicion of commercial burglary, identity theft, and grand theft of personal property. She initially pleaded not guilty to the charges, but eventually pleaded no contest to second-degree commercial burglary and grand theft of personal property. Medina was sentenced to 6 months in jail, followed by 6 months of a residential treatment program and 5 years of probation. 5. Connor Padgett. People tend to do incredibly stupid things when they drink, and every once in a while someone wakes up after a night of boozing to discover that they've gone viral. This was likely the situation from an Alabama man named Connor Padgett, who was roasted across the internet after footage of him getting stuck in a giant urn on New Year's Eve spread like wildfire. Accompanied by the caption, "Oh my god, this is the whitest shit I've ever seen." The video shows Padgett cramming his lower body into the container, only to quickly realize that he wasn't going to be able to get out. He grew increasingly frustrated as he tried with no success to remove himself from the vessel. Partygoers at the gathering in Mountain Brook surrounded Padgett in an attempt to set him free, but he only seemed to get more annoyed amid his constant failures to free himself. At one point in the video, the urn could be seen laying on its side as Padgett screamed at the people around him that he was trying everything he could think of to get out. They ended up breaking the urn with a hammer and chisel in order to remove Connor, but commenters suggested a few other ideas that would have caused less damage to the large decorative vase, including buttering the man up. 4. Jan Sivak. In 2017, UK resident Jan Sivak jumped bail on a burglary case by failing to show up for court and became a wanted fugitive. Police went to the 30-year-old's home in Halifax, West Yorkshire, where they found him hiding face down beneath the bed with his legs completely sticking out. The cops were amused enough by Sivak's poor attempt at hiding that they stopped to take a photo before removing him from beneath the bed and taking him into custody. In a Facebook post featuring the image, the West Yorkshire police included the caption, "He won't be winning any awards for hide-and-seek champion soon." Sivak's lawyer claimed that his client had tried to attend his court hearing, but didn't have enough money to pay for public transportation. The accused burglar admitted to failing to surrender and spent 2 weeks in jail for it, but he denied stealing nearly $6,000 worth of cash and other items from a fish and chip shop. 3. Umar Mirza. After failing to land a job at a Paddy Power gambling den in Birmingham, England in August 2017, 26-year-old Umar Mirza allegedly robbed the store at gunpoint. Wearing a hood and mask, Mirza entered the business at around 8:30 one morning and handed a worker a note demanding cash. Mirza made off with £17,000, $22,016 of cash and coins, but he removed his mask as he exited the store, giving the employees enough time to recognize him as a recent job applicant. His resume was still on file, making it easy for staff members to identify the thief to law enforcement. During a search of Mirza's home, police found the gun that was used to commit the robbery, which turned out to be fake, as well as the bag and threatening note that were used in the crime. In a previous incident that occurred about 4 months earlier, Mirza was present while a friend used the same fake gun to rob a different betting shop. Mirza's lawyer, Devon Small, blamed his client's years-long online gambling addiction for his foolish actions. The accused thief reportedly owed more than $30,000 to 2 different gambling companies, driving him to commit the robbery out of desperation. But by trying to solve his problems through stealing, Mirza only made his life much harder. He admitted to a robbery charge and was sentenced to 6 years in prison, which undoubtedly only put him further behind in paying off his debts. 2. Riley John Bigger. In October 2014, a young man stole a soda and some headphones from a CVS store in Fresno, California. Identified by police as 19-year-old Riley John Bigger, he might have gotten away with the crime if he hadn't left his bike and a backpack containing his resume at the scene as he fled on foot. Riley eventually returned to the store for his bike, but he once again left without his backpack, which an employee turned over to the police. In a hilarious and ironic twist, the accused thief's resume described him as having customer service skills, being a family-oriented people person, having an outgoing personality, and being raised with good morals. The resume also described the teen as a good problem solver, even though he ended up in a pretty senseless predicament by his own doing that day. Fresno detective Donnie Dinnell told ABC7 that Riley had been arrested 6 previous times leading up to the CVS incident. Following his capture, he was held without bond on 13 felonies stemming from multiple cases, including identity theft, auto theft, robbery, and burglary. By that point, Dinnell had grown to hope that the repeat offender would finally end up in prison. While it's unclear if Riley served time, records show that he's not currently in state custody. And now for number 1. But if you want to hear more bizarre and crazy stories, stay tuned after the video for some more content. 1. Dustin Ridgers. Police seem to love it when a criminal suspect makes their job easier by posting incriminating content on social media. Deputies in Franklin County, Ohio, were certainly happy to discover an accused drunk driver with enough time to get him off the road before anyone could get hurt in December 2015. The suspect, 28-year-old Dustin Ridgers, only had himself to thank for getting caught. He posted a 12-second Facebook video that appeared to show him drinking alcohol while driving and using just one finger to control the steering wheel. To make the situation even more alarming, it was raining at the time, and he was using his phone to type responses to his friends' comments. The footage had no privacy settings, meaning it was viewable to the world. One commenter wrote, "Dude, really?" To which Ridgers responded, "Don't worry, I'm a good driver." The video helped police locate the alleged drunk driver, who was arrested on suspicion of operating a vehicle while under the influence and having an open container in a vehicle. While the type of behavior shown in the video could have put a lot of people in danger, Ridgers' girlfriend at the time told ABC News that she didn't want people to judge. She said that her boyfriend was smart, just going through a lot, and that he had endured an unspeakable tragedy. But at the end of the day, it's not an excuse to put innocent civilians in harm's way. It also wasn't Ridgers' first time being accused of driving drunk. He'd previously been charged with OWI in 2007 and 2011, and had pleaded guilty in a separate impaired driving case shortly before the arrest stemming from his Facebook video.
9. Shannon Sapila. In 2015, when a 20-year-old Stamford, Connecticut woman named Shannon Sapila started to suspect one of her closest gal pals of hooking up with her ex-boyfriend, she allegedly spray-painted the word "war" on her former friend's car and even slashed the tires. You can probably guess what she actually meant to write, but spelling isn't exactly her forte. Sapila was also accused of keying her ex-boyfriend's car and slashing his tires as well. The young woman's ex-boyfriend later claimed that Sapila sent him a slew of text messages hinting that she was behind the vandalism. When later questioned by police, though, Sapila flat out denied any involvement. She was initially released without any charges, presumably because there wasn't enough evidence at the time. After thinking she had gotten away with breaking the law, Sapila stopped and took a selfie while leaving the police station. She soon posted the photo on social media along with the caption, "Stamford police have nothing on me," but she spoke a bit too soon. And it wasn't long before Sapila was rearrested on suspicion of criminal mischief. She posted bail and continued referencing the incident on social media while complaining about the unwanted attention she was getting after the story went viral online. 8. Alexandra Martinez. Over a several-month period that started in July 2015, a suspected serial bling thief named Alexandra Martinez was arrested several times for drugging and robbing men of their Rolexes and expensive belongings. The 19-year-old from Ewing, New Jersey was busted in Manhattan and Brooklyn, where she was accused of using her feminine charms to meet men at bars and nightclubs before getting invited back to their hotel rooms and apartments. Martinez seemed to have started out small with her crimes. Her first arrest happened after she swiped a man's wallet at a random bar. About a month later, she was accused of snatching another man's watch and running from his hotel room. She kept getting arrested. Yet she had no plans to stop what she was doing. In fact, Martinez continued robbing victims and essentially became a career thief. She also seemed to have escalated the severity of her crimes and was even accused of drugging at least 2 victims. According to court documents, one man suddenly blacked out after taking a few sips of a cocktail Martinez and an alleged accomplice made for him at his apartment. He woke up several hours later and realized that his $10,000 Rolex and $800 in cash had been stolen. Another victim had $38,000 worth of jewelry stolen. In addition to stealing watches, Martinez allegedly made off with cash, credit cards, cell phones, and expensive jewelry. In a generous plea deal that some criticized as a slap on the wrist, the platinum blonde seductress admitted to 1 count of grand larceny in exchange for 5 years of probation. She was also ordered to pay $9,000 in restitution fees, although the amount of property she stole was estimated to be worth much more. As part of the agreement, Martinez only had to admit guilt in 1 of the 5 cases made against her. According to the victim in this particular case, Martinez fled with his Rolex while he used the bathroom at his condo. It's unclear what the young woman is up to these days, but she's managed to stay out of the spotlight, which is a good sign that she might be staying out of trouble. 7. Yoni Jones. Cameras are everywhere in this modern age, to the point where it's extremely difficult to commit a crime in public and not get caught by surveillance or bystander footage. Of course, the smartest thing anyone can do is simply avoid breaking the law, but many are willing to take their chances. This seemed to be the case when security cameras got footage of 3 women robbing a beauty supply store in Broward County, Florida, back in 2021. In the video, the trio was seen grabbing various items with at least 1 child with them. When confronted by a nervous employee, one of the suspects allegedly blasted pepper spray in the poor worker's face. The surveillance footage helped authorities identify the alleged attacker as 18-year-old Yoni Jones. At the time, the young woman was already facing 15 charges in various unrelated cases. After the beauty store incident, that list grew to include robbery with a weapon. In an ironic twist, the blonde wig Jones wore in her mugshot was allegedly one of the items the women were accused of stealing that day. 6. Kyle Clark. During the morning, one Saturday in August 2021, police responded to a call made about a disturbance at an apartment building in Iowa City, Iowa. According to a criminal complaint, officers found 19-year-old Kyle Clark and another man yelling in each other's faces. When Clark noticed the cops, he allegedly tried walking away from the scene. The responding officers were quick to notice a suspicious, very large bulge under his shirt. When a detective asked Clark if the item was a bag of weed, he didn't want to talk about it. He reportedly continued trying to walk away from the area. But the police weren't about to let him leave in the middle of an investigation. Clark was put in handcuffs as a bag containing 4 ounces, 0.1 kilograms of marijuana fell out of his shirt, solving the bulge mystery. According to an officer, Clark claimed the weed wasn't his. Obviously, the police didn't buy it, and the young man was charged with felony and misdemeanor drug counts. The arrest report didn't specify whether Clark offered up an excuse as to why he was supposedly carrying around someone's large pot stash under his shirt. 5. Tracy Mary Fiorenza. In May 2023, an exclusive high school in Palm Beach, Florida, started receiving emails threatening one of its students, Barron Trump, the son of the infamous former U.S. President Donald Trump. 2 emails contained threats claiming that the writer would shoot both Donald and Barron Trump in the face. Historically speaking, there's an unwritten rule in American society that targeting a president's children is a low blow, even if there are plenty of valid reasons to dislike the president himself. This line of respect started to erode noticeably in recent years, but most people would still never make the kinds of threats outlined in the emails sent to Barron's school. If for nothing else, because they know how seriously it would be taken by law enforcement. But as the emails revealed, some people are willing to go to extremes to get their point across. Investigators eventually traced the emails to a 41-year-old, now former schoolteacher from Chicago, named Tracy Mary Fiorenza. According to the Daily Mail, a Facebook profile with the woman's name and photo was filled with posts about conspiracy theories, including references to the Illuminati and the New World Order. It even had allegations that Oprah Winfrey's TV network was involved in human trafficking. Fiorenza made several social media posts calling for the arrest of former President Trump. It's something many people wish to see happen, but most members of society know that violent threats are not an acceptable way of expressing one's disapproval for a politician, or any human being for that matter. It's still not clear exactly what was happening in Fiorenza's mind when she wrote the emails. But according to authorities, she admitted to writing and sending the horrific messages. She's also accused of showing up at the school and asking personal questions about the Trumps. Lucky for her, security kicked her off the property with a warning. Secret Service agents then tracked Fiorenza down at a nearby gas station later that day and escorted her back to her hotel. Further investigation revealed that Fiorenza may have been trying to reach White House employees all the way back in 2018. She now faces one federal count of transmitting threats to kill or injure another person in interstate commerce, which can come with a prison sentence of up to 5 years if found guilty. While it's been speculated that mental health issues likely played a role in Fiorenza's behavior, others perceived her actions as a blatant disrespect for the law. Either way, it seems as if she didn't have a worry in the world about getting caught until it actually happened. 4. Blakely Sands. In February 2021, police officers in Edmond, Oklahoma, responded to a call made by a young woman whose fake ID had been confiscated at a local bar. She claimed the ID was genuine, and she wanted law enforcement's help getting it back. Officers reported to the scene and examined the ID, which looked like a Texas driver's license belonging to an older woman named McCamey Queen. The person who dialed 911 allegedly insisted this was her name, but when police ran the numbers on the license, it came back to a random man named Robert Sanchez. After getting busted, the woman was identified as 18-year-old Blakely Sands. According to the authorities, she eventually admitted that she thought she could get help getting the ID back without officers realizing it was a fake. 3. Heather Kennedy. While arriving at his home in Port Charlotte, Florida one day in July 2021, 69-year-old James Clark noticed some clothes that he didn't recognize outside by his swimming pool. He then spotted a naked blonde woman swimming in his pool. The woman was still in the water when sheriff's deputies arrived at the property. According to an arrest report, she didn't want to offer her name or explain why she was swimming in a stranger's backyard. She was allegedly hostile toward law enforcement agents and told the deputies that she just wanted them to leave her alone. In an effort to get the woman out of the pool, one of the deputies grabbed her clothing from the lanai and asked her to get dressed. She briefly cooperated and put her stuff back on, but was then accused of resisting when the deputy tried handcuffing her. The suspect also continued refusing to identify herself despite being asked for her name multiple times. Jail employees recognized the woman when she arrived and identified her as 42-year-old Heather Kennedy. She was immediately charged with trespassing and resisting arrest without violence. A few days later, after being given a court date and released from custody, Kennedy was accused of breaking into a stranger's truck. In addition to the charges stemming from the last incident, she was charged with burglary, theft, criminal mischief, possession of drug paraphernalia, and, get ready for this, smuggling a meth pipe into jail by hiding it in her privates. Kennedy pleaded no contest to the trespassing and resisting arrest charges. She was sentenced to some time served, but by then she had a growing list of other cases, including a charge for allegedly violating her probation for another drug-related conviction. 2. Julian Mitchell. In early 2019, a man with blonde hair, a red beard, and black eyebrows tried to pay for a bar tab with a stolen credit card in Nashville, Tennessee. When the bar's system flagged the card as stolen, an employee asked to see 20-year-old Julian Mitchell's ID to confirm he was the credit card's owner. According to police officers, Mitchell gave the employee an ID that clearly didn't belong to him. Police were then called to the scene. where they searched Mitchell's fanny pack and discovered a stolen wallet belonging to the man whose ID the suspect tried to use. The fanny pack also contained several other stolen credit cards belonging to various other victims. Mitchell's mugshot quickly went viral online, with many comparing him to a Ken doll for his immaculately groomed facial features. He later revealed in an interview with ABC4 that he was aiming for a Ken doll look with his hair and makeup that night. The young man said he was at the establishment to audition as a dancer when the discovery of the stolen card made his night take a turn for the worst. After his arrest, Mitchell put his dreams to move to LA and become a famous professional dancer on hold so he could sort his legal issues out. He said that even though he messed up, he refused to give up on his future goals. It's a good attitude to have, and hopefully it helped him turn down a better path, one with less crime perhaps. 1. Sophia Rosing. A University of Kentucky student's plans for the future were placed on hold in November 2022 after she attacked a black woman working behind the front counter of her dorm building. According to police, 22-year-old Sophia Rosing drunkenly hurled racial insults at two individuals, including the employee, Kyla Spring, who also happened to be a student at the college. Footage of the incident seemed to show Rosing charging at Spring with a shopping cart, throwing punches at the victim, and calling the victim derogatory names based on her race. Rosing was taken into custody not long after on charges of public intoxication, assault, disorderly conduct, and assault on an officer. She was formally indicted on the charges at the start of 2023. After her arrest, Rosing withdrew from the University of Kentucky and was banned from returning. She pleaded not guilty to the charges and has yet to publicly apologize for her behavior. In a statement, the young woman's lawyer said that his client was undergoing treatment and that she'll eventually apologize when the time is right. In the eyes of many, that apology is long overdue, and the clock is still ticking. Many feel that there's no excuse for Rosing's hateful behavior, especially since Americans are becoming increasingly fed up with the lack of progress the country has made toward curbing discrimination and similar hate crimes.
Thanks for watching. Would you rather appear in a viral mugshot wearing a hilarious outfit that the world's not gonna let you forget anytime soon, or cause your new co-workers and supervisors to lose complete confidence in you due to an airheaded mistake you made during your first week at your dream job? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Bye.